In this video, I will show you how you can create your own bone groups control panel just like the one used in Riggify, but you can use it for your own custom rigs that are not created with Riggify itself. We have to do this in Python scripting, but don't worry if you have no coding knowledge. I will show you an example of what you have to type and explain every attribute you can change and how to structure it so that it fits your own needs. This is also add-on free, so you don't have to compile an add-on and install it. You can just execute a text file that you can save anywhere on your computer. Before we get started, you need to enable some settings. So go under User Preferences, under the Interface tab, enable Developer Extras, User Tooltips, as well as Python Tooltips. After that, just navigate into the Scripting tab. Here you can just create a new text file and name it whatever you want. I recommend saving it immediately though. Very important, in the beginning, just type these 3 lines to import the basic package. If you don't do this, all of this won't work. In this part, we basically define the panel that you will see. The label is like the header when you have the panel open. The space type is set to View 3D, since we want this to show up when we are in the 3D viewport. The region type, we just put it as UI. In the category, you just put the name you want to show up on the right side, where the stuff like View, Tools, and Items is located. This section basically tells Blender to only show us the panel when we have selected the armature, so you don't have to change any of that. Now, the next part is where all the magic happens. Our way of structuring the panel is actually by adding different rows. First, you just define a row. Everything that comes after that just gets stacked after one another in that same row. So if I define a row and put 3 buttons under it, they will all be stacked inside this row. If I leave a line empty and then do the same thing again for 2 items, these 2 items will be located under the first row. Pretty simple, huh? Now in this case, we really just need 2 types. We need a label, which we can just access by row.label, give it the name you want. In this case, I gave it the name layers. And we need a type called prop. Now, prop has a couple of parameters. The only ones that you need to focus on are the index and the text. You just need to change the index to the layer that your bone group is located on. So for example, my eye controls are all on the layer 4. So for the index, I just put 4. Now, in case you don't know how to assign bones to certain layers, just select the bone in pose mode and press M and put them on the layer that you want. Since we enabled the developer extras, we can also hover over the layers and see which index is associated with which layer. The text is obviously the descriptive text that you want to have on your control panel. And that is pretty much all the logic you need to do. Now, in order for this to work, we just need a function that tells Blender to add this to the viewport, and one that tells Blender to remove it. Now, in order for Blender to actually do this, we need this little thing right here. And depending on if you want to edit or remove it, you just put register or unregister in there. Now, save your text file so that you can find it whenever you need it, and you're pretty much done. One quick thing to note though, is that every time you open up Blender, you will notice that the rig panel is actually gone. Just go into your scripting tab and execute the text file again. Usually it's still loaded in there if you haven't edited any other text files. If you have though, just load the text file again and execute it. That's it. Now you can just create your own little control panel for your custom rigs. If this was helpful, maybe consider subscribing and liking the video. This would help me out a lot. If you have any questions, you can of course ask them in the comment section and I will try to answer them as best as I can. Have fun creating!